A top story this hour now. The family of the late Joyce Syombua and her two children, whose bodies were exhumed from a shallow grave last evening by police officers, are expected anytime from now at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital morgue. Detectives found the bodies buried in a shallow grave at Makaburini in Laikipia County following their disappearance 3 weeks ago. Now, we are linking up with our reporter Ibrahim Karanja, who is currently at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital morgue. Good afternoon, Ibrahim. Great to see you, but not a great day, not a good afternoon there. I imagine it will be a somber mood once the family gets there. I'm not so sure if they're there already, but now over to you, Ibrahim. Tell us, are they there? And just what is the mood and what do we expect? Because there are claims of, a DNA test could be carried out, but we're not so sure. So let's get the facts from you, Ibrahim.
Well, good afternoon, Grace. Indeed, even as the country still comes to terms with this harrowing murder that was really sort of confirmed yesterday upon the discovery of the three bodies from Makaburini area here in Nanyuki town, we cannot really confirm whether the three bodies belong to the people who've been missing. That is according to the county CCIO Mwau Muinde, who said that they'll only confirm that upon a scientific proof that will be conducted on the bodies. And as you have said, we expect the family, that is the mother and relatives of Joyce, to be here any moment from now and identify the bodies. Remember, it is after a positive identification of the bodies that even a post-mortem will be conducted. Of course, investigators cannot process the bodies for a post-mortem before they have been positively identified. So we expect the family here. So far, they have not arrived. We are at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital morgue, just keeping an eye on whatever will unfold from here. But the family, like I have mentioned, have not arrived yet. We are told they'll be here. So, of course, we will keep looking at how things unfold. But as is right now, Grace, we cannot access the morgue, of course, because the family is not here, the DCI officers, the investigative officers are not here. But what we can also report is that there is a reinforcement in terms of investigations and investigative officers who are here. There is a reinforcement that has come from the DCI headquarters in Nairobi of homicide officers who arrived early in the morning to partner with the DCI officers from Laikipia County to actually establish and get more facts on this gruesome murder that has really happened. Remember, two suspects are currently in custody. The main suspect, that is Mugure, the husband and father to the the children who are disappeared, and the wife is being held at Timau police station. And the second suspect, who is suspected to be an accomplice, that is a cleaner at the the Laikipia Airbase, is being held at the Nanyuki police station. The reasons as to why they are held in separate stations, of course, one can guess is so that, one, they do not interfere with each other. Remember, it is suspected, or the word on the ground is that it is the second suspect who actually finally spoke out after interrogation from the DCI. But the main suspect, Mugure, was actually not giving out information. Remember, Mugure had recorded statements 3 times with the police here in Laikipia, and all the 3 statements seemed to contradict each other. In the first statement, he said that on the night of this on the day of this particular murder, that is on the 26th of October, he had actually seen off his family to the Nanyuki Matatu Terminal, where they were to go back to Nairobi after visiting him. But it is established, yet another statement recorded shows that the main suspect did not go anywhere near the stage. Of course, this is a matter that is still under investigation, and we expect the suspects will be arraigned tomorrow, of course, as the law requires that every suspect must be held in a specified time before they are arraigned in court. And perhaps we'll expect the investigators will be asking the court to grant them more time for investigations. But it is also important to note that the phone belonging to Joyce was actually found in a 4NTE Matatu. This, of course, seemed by many as a way of trying to distort evidence or trying to get away with murder from the main suspect, planting a phone of the victim in the Matatu just to show that indeed the victim had traveled in a 4 NTE matatu. But remember, 4 NTE Sacco has since come out to say that that particular matatu on the subject day was not operating or was actually on private business, was not carrying commuters to Nairobi, and they are saying that the matatu was actually on its way to Narok. So they do not understand how the phone ended up in the 4 NTE matatu. So all this is seen as a way of trying to just distort the evidence. But even as everything unfolds, we shall keep our viewers and tell them everything as shall be happening, all the statements that shall be recorded. If at all there'll be more suspects who will be arrested. Remember, the police yesterday saying that they made this particular arrest upon a tip-off from a taxi driver who said he had received a phone call from Mugure to help him buy a sack and ropes and to carry an unspecified luggage at night from the Laikipia Airbase. The taxi driver says he refused to carry or to bring the sacks, and he's the person who gave that information to the officers, who later on, of course, moved on with investigations, went to the phone records and established that Mugure had actually spoken to a cleaner, the Laikipia Airbase, a cleaner who, like I have mentioned, is already arrested and is being detained at the Laikipia police station, Grace. So everything as shall be unfolding. Of course, we shall keep our viewers informed if the family arrives here and if the bodies will be positively identified, Grace.
Well, in Ibrahim, but I'm curious, talk to us about the mood on the ground, because Ibrahim, this is unbelievable, unimaginable. It is beyond me. For instance, speaking, for myself here, not only the mother of this mother, Joyce Syombua, but her two children too, Shanice Maua and a Prince Michael there. And of course, yesterday, when the bodies were found in that shallow grave, we did see lots of people on the ground there at Makaburini in Laikipia, bewildered, shocked. They couldn't believe what they saw. So talk to us about the mood on the ground today, Ibrahim.
Well, as is, residents are still trying to come to terms with what was really discovered, especially those people living around Makaburini and the Ngidu area. That is where the bodies were discovered. They're still shocked as how and why someone would actually resort to such steps, such heinous actions. But like you have mentioned, when yesterday the bodies were being exhumed, for a moment you could see people all around that particular scene crying. And these are people, remember, who are not known to the victims. Of course, it shows the weight of this particular incident that has happened. Personally, I was a bit overcome by grief yesterday as the bodies were being exhumed. Remember the bodies of the children, especially 10 and 5, aged and had been buried for almost 3 weeks since their disappearance on the 26th. The bodies were a bit, you can't really paint a picture because the bodies you cannot really identify, and that even shows or makes us think it will be a bit difficult even for the family to identify the bodies because they had been sort of distorted from being buried in the ground for 3 weeks. What I personally saw are bodies that sort of had their skins out, and no one could really tell the faces because the detectives actually tore the sacks from there and you couldn't really tell the faces. So it is a bit disturbing to even difficult for the family to identify, and this even shows that there might be a requirement for some scientific proof, some scientific tests to be run, maybe DNA to confirm that indeed that those are the 3 who the police have been looking for. But it is quite sad, even in the entire Nanyuki, also across the country, looking at how people are reacting on this to this particular story on social media and in other platforms. It is something that people are still trying to comprehend, to come to terms with, even as all of them ask, why a man? And a man who actually has been mandated with the responsibility of protecting Kenyans. Remember, this is a major in the Air Force. This is someone who has been bestowed the responsibility of protecting Kenyans. People are still asking what would push him to such level. So, of course, we are also trying to see what the DCI will unravel. And even as they arraign him in court tomorrow, what evidence they'll be bringing against the main suspect, what evidence they'll also be bringing against also the second suspect, who is suspected to be an accomplice, Grace.
Indeed, Ibrahim, thank you so much for that update. You were there yesterday and today. We do appreciate it. Is heart-wrenching, unimaginable, not only for the death of the mother, but these two children, Prince Shanice Maua and Prince Michael there. But as Ibrahim told us, he will remain there at the Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital morgue. And once the family gets there, he will let us know. So let's take a short break here on Weekend at 1. But do